So, remember when I said in my last video that I wasn't going to be driving the STI much this summer because I wanted to put more money into the Can-Am? Subarus are very sensitive and they can hear those things. So one of the common failure points for an EJ would be the timing belt. So when I first got the car, it sat for quite a while and I knew this. I took the cover off and checked and was like, oh great, timing belt's already been done. Fantastic, don't have to do it. Well, when you do a timing belt on these things, you should probably do the whole kit with all the pulleys and the tensioner. Well, whoever did it last didn't do all the pulleys. So now it's time for me to do all the pulleys because, well, it made the decision for me. So when you're doing a timing belt kit on your STI, the best thing to do is to get a kit with absolutely everything so you don't have to do the job twice. So I got myself a Gates timing belt kit that literally comes with all the pulleys, the tensioner, the belt, the spacer, you got everything. So now that I got all of the parts that I should need, first step, obviously, there's not a whole lot of space to get at that timing belt cover. So what will need to be done is this beautiful Mishimoto rod is going to have to come out so that I can have some space in order to access the timing belt and everything. So that's where I get to start. Oh, I'm sorry I let you sit for so long. Please forgive me. Please be nice. Please just cooperate with me and all your slugs and everything. Alright, so with the rad out of the way, look at how much freaking space is in there. My god, I don't know how people do it without taking the rad out, but it takes, well, not a whole lot of time to get it out, but gives you so much more space. Alright, so I'm going to do my best at getting some of these cover bolts off. Don't know why, but there always has to be that one stubborn bolt that just will not give. Anyway, the rest of them have come out so far so good. Got one side of the cover off. Yeah, so there's chunks out of the belt, and there's literally shrapnel pieces of one of the bearings that just got launched into the cover and just got welded there. So yeah, I'm down to the last couple of bolts, and then I can actually get the crank pulley bolt off and see what kind of mess we're dealing with back here. I'm pretty excited to see just how bad it is. Excited but not excited. Well, the moment of truth. How bad is it? Oh god. Well, that indeed is royally fucked. Jesus. Yep, that is why you do all the pulleys, not just a couple. Fuck. Well, here we go. Time to see which marks line up and which ones don't. Well, with everything all lined up, the crank pulley's on there. So both of the passenger side ones appear to be lined up fine. tricky part. You're off 2 teeth, and you're off 2 teeth. Right down in there, somewhere. So, at this point, basically, the only thing I can do is replace everything and whirl it over and see if anything binds up. So, typically Subarus are a 3-tooth limit. Some of those could have been from pushing it. I won't know until I try, so fingers crossed that that's the only damage that there is, which is pretty freaking bad. I can't even duplicate the noises that came out of this thing, but literally all of the bearings came out of this thing. It is ridiculous. So fingers crossed, guys. I'm gonna cross fingers, cross toes, cross my eyes. Who knows? It might have survived. So you guys will be the first one to know if 4 teeth is doable or not. So wish me luck. Well, now with the belt off of it, I cannot believe how close this was. So where that pulley happens to sit is right up beside that oil pump. Like, look at that. Like, I was so close to needing the oil pump and everything too. Like, my God. So all of these little bearings and everything, it was actually starting to grind into the block a little bit. Yikes. So with the shrapnel pieces out, I'll see if I can blow the rest of the balls out of there and throw those other 2 tensioners in the garbage, or the pulleys rather. This one's a little noisy. Not a lot of noise out of them, but I'm taking no risks because this thing literally took not even 30 seconds to fully blow apart. Like, I'm lucky that I was just sitting in my parents' driveway, just coming to a stop right when this thing started howling at me. So you would think that a noise like that you'd be able to hear more in advance. No, you don't. You don't until it's too late. So here we are. There's another piece right down there. So yeah, do your timing belts and do the entire freaking kit. 100,000 kilometer limit, guys. Take it from me. Well, I got all the new pulleys on there, the new belt. Just got the grenade pin left. So one thing with a lot of these belts, they come with these awesome little marks on them. So you can actually line them all up so that they are exactly where they're supposed to be, so that you know that you didn't miss any teeth in between all the pulleys. So as long as for installation purposes, before you pull that little grenade pin, that all of the lines on the belt actually line up with the lines on the important pulleys. So all of those are all lined up. I can pull a pin. Moment of truth. I'm going to spin it around and hopefully I don't feel anything binding or hear any noises. So okay, so crankshaft is back at top dead center. That timing mark lines up. Those lines look like they do. So, only noises that I heard are probably just a little bit of bearing shrapnel over here on the passenger side. So I'll blow that out a little bit better and otherwise, I don't think I really heard any crunch noises, so, I'm hoping for the best. I didn't feel anything binding, so... Well, hopefully I didn't forget anything other than coolant. So, I have the fuel pump relay unhooked, and I'm gonna crank it over, build oil pressure, and before I have actual fuel added, obviously make sure that there's no noises. So, well, here we go. Crank her over. One more time. Yeah, it almost sounds like there's something inside that timing cover. One more time. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to take that side cover off again. Oh. Moment of truth. Oh. Well, it runs. Holy fuck. Alright, time to call her a night. Oh god, this thing's been sitting for way too long. Look at the fucking mold. My god. Poor car. I'm so sorry. I promise. I'm getting back to you. So, the main holdup with this thing, after I was actually able to start it, I could still hear some freaking noise back here. So, it took forever to try to find a way to get this pulley off. I could tell that there was something rubbing behind it. That was the majority of the noise when I first started it, so I didn't want to run it any longer than needed. Since my mom and dad finally decided to spend an evening to get that bolt out for me because I just did not have time for it anymore, one of the pulley bearings got so hot when it got spun in behind this exhaust cam pulley, it melted into the cover. So every time that the pulley would crank over, it would rub on that bearing, and yeah, so that was a lot of the noise. So now that I have that off, and I'm going to remove that ball and blow everything out of there, make sure there's no more assholes in there, and hopefully I can proceed. One other issue, the oil pressure gauge kind of maxed itself out, so I'll do a fresh oil change. I took the oil pressure sensor out and cleaned it out and yada yada. I'll have to monitor the oil pressure, but as of right now, I think that should fix that major noise. And let's put her back together and try to proceed.
the soul, y'all.
All right, take 2. Fuel pump fuse is unhooked. Make sure there's no clacking noises exposed. Never mind. Battery's fucking dead now. God damn it. For reals this time. Let's just fucking plug this thing back in and be done with it. Oh, it helps if I have a flashlight. Alright, so the oil pressure gauge is definitely not just going to work. So, if maxed out at 150, I know I have pressure level, I'm good enough. Fuck it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would like to report it is running smooth. There's no weird noises. Oil pressure gauge is fucked, so is the boost gauge. I don't know what happened to those while it sat for the last month and a half. AC still works absolutely beautiful though, so I'll have to look into those gauges. I'm gonna have to do a little interior clean because it is humid and gross. And, well, like and subscribe everyone, and stay tuned indefinitely.